Welcome, everyone, to episode 126 of the Greg's World podcast. This is my weekly audio journal where I sit down and I discuss my life, my accomplishments for the week, things that are in my brain that need to come out. It all happens here on YouTube, but it also happens on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and pretty much any other podcasting platform that you possibly listen to. If you'd like to take this with you on the go as an audio presentation, you are welcome to do that. Thank you for allowing me into your ear holes and into your life this week. We're actually recording this Friday, May 27th at 10:16 a.m. It's an early episode because I've got some plans for this afternoon. At 12:50 today, my buddy invited me to go watch the new Top Gun movie with him at the movie theater. So I'm very excited about that. And I was like, okay, we got to get the podcast done early. So that's why we're here. I hope you're having a glorious day. You're probably listening to this on Sunday when it comes out, or maybe throughout the week. I hope you're having a glorious one. Let's talk about my week, my last week. We're going to start off with last Saturday. Oh my gosh. I told you guys that I was going to the community yard sales, and historically these ones have always been good to me. And this year was no exception. I found some amazing Lego scores and I was so excited about it. In fact, you probably saw the video, like some of the Lego stuff leaks onto this channel because it's all a part of my life and it's hard to like know where to divide the Lego with the non-Lego because it's like a part of me, as you can probably tell by like everything that you see. It's a hobby, but it's also a passion. It's a way of life, maybe. But I found some really great scores, and I hope you saw the video where I got that stuff because it was just so darn exciting. But I've been making Lego videos as well related to what I found. And the one thing that you may not know, based on what you saw, is in the $10 mystery box of Lego that I got. I guess I should lay it out here. I'll assume that you've never watched anything that I've ever done before. I ended up going to this yard sale where I saw some Lego like from afar, and I jump out of the car, I run over to it. There's several boxes of Lego sets that are still sealed. Apparently these people's kid was into Lego, no longer into it. They're trying to sell everything off. There's also a $10 mystery box of Lego there, just full of like miscellaneous bags and stuff like that and pieces. Ended up doing a package deal where I got all of this stuff for $75, including multiple sets that are worth more than that by themselves. But when I got home and I started going through the box of Lego stuff and the miscellaneous stuff, I ended up coming across a few minifigures in there, and one of them in particular was the most expensive Lego minifig that I've ever owned in my entire life. It's worth approximately $200 to $250, and that just absolutely made my day, and it made it probably the greatest Lego yard sale score that I've ever gotten in my life. There's been times where I found like $5 like collections and stuff, and there's a lot of cool things in there and pieces, but to score a $200 minifig out of what would have been like a $10 box is just remarkable. And it's really fun sharing that stuff on my Lego channel because the people over there are like super supportive of Clark and myself, our Lego collecting journey, as we call it. And I love sharing those successes with people, and they always seem like super happy for us. It's such a great feeling. So that's like brought on a renaissance on my Lego channel. Not only that, but also I've been doing a lot of cleaning up down here in the studio. I mentioned last week that we have a yard sale ourselves coming up tomorrow. It's supposed to be today, but it's rather gloomy. It was supposed to rain today, so we're just like, all right, we're just gonna come on Saturday because that's the day that most people come anyway. And I've been working down here going through stuff, and I made a whole video of me going through a time capsule of a box for 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute video, probably as long as this podcast is. Maybe, hopefully this one's a little bit longer, because I know like I like longer podcasts personally. I like it when like keep me company as long as you possibly can, because I tune in, I want to listen to what's going on. So I went through this box and I found some things in there that moved with us. Like I just packed all this stuff into a box, moved it, put it in the storage room of doom, which is the door behind me right over my shoulder if you're watching this. And it sat there for the last 2.5 years, and I finally opened this up, and we were going through what's inside of it, and I was like, oh, this would be so good to like share with people. Why just do this by myself when I can share it? So I made a video on it. People really love that as well. Like every video I'm making is just like hitting, and it feels so darn good. Like this channel, it's so much easier because it's like there's already like an assumption that we're just sharing our lives and things we're doing here, and that's what people tune in for. So it's very easy to be like, hey, here's what we're doing, even if it's just what I consider to be boring stuff. I had so many people reach out and just be like, Greg, I just love like sharing and what you're up to. Lego's a little bit more complicated because people really do want like Lego focused content. So when you find a box like that and there's all this stuff in here, and I found videos that I needed to make and I started doing those, it just, I feel like I'm on a roll, baby. So I'm having a great time with the Lego content. I'm so excited to get organized, get my storage space cleaned up. The studio is going to be organized. And then like that just sets me up for all the things I want to do, which is just like sharing my Lego building and creating journey. And I just love it. I couldn't, like, there's nothing in this world that I'm more passionate about than making video and sharing those with the world. I love the reception that I get from it. I love the fact that I can do this for a living. I love that I'm my own boss. I love that I can work as hard as I want to or as little as I want to, depending on my schedule. And no one can tell me what to do or stop me. Somebody stop me, Jim Carrey. Oh, it's incredible. And I just want to do this forever. Hopefully you're here to watch it forever, because I need somebody. I need somebody to stick with me through all these years. And it's been pretty cool so far. I definitely see a lot of people that have done just that. They've been with us for years, and it's so neat. So I did a lot of cleaning up. I thought that was going to come to a screeching halt, though, when Clarkman kind of developed like this fever and a cold again. This is probably his 20th time being sick this year, after being isolated from all of the other little sick kids and then being thrown into first grade with all of the sickness. He's been catching it pretty good, as his classmates too. Like, he tells me stories about how they're just walking in the hallway and like this girl just completely just like pukes all over the floor as they're all standing in the hall. And I thought about that poor girl. And I was like, this is going to be a moment that she remembers for the rest of her life. In fact, there may be other kids in that classroom that are like, I remember the day that girl threw up all over the floor. Like, it's just like memories were formed. So needless to say, kids are getting sick left and right there. Clark had a fever, wasn't feeling great. He just had kind of a cold, but it's like, well, we don't need to send him. So we kept him home for what was going to be a day, turned into 2 days. And I thought, these days I'm not going to get anything done. Having Clarkman home, it really changes the scenario, but it didn't at all. In fact, we actually got more done because he was obviously looking for something to do. So I was like, hey, do you want to finish this Star Wars set you started? Have one bag left. He finished that. He helped me with another bag of my Ninjago City Garden set. He worked on a set that was lost in that move. It was in the mystery box that I came across. He found that and he decided that he was going to build that. So it was just so cool to like almost have like a preview of what the summer is going to be, where we're back together again and working on stuff. We also did a Thomas video that was a request that had been like from a yard sale haul. We did that one. We did a Bigfoot monster truck video that I don't think you've seen yet, but you will see. It was crazy. Like, I was actually like way more productive with Clark home, just because he motivates me to like get all these things done. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, but then we'll put that off. No putting things off when you have a 7-year-old. It's like, it needs done like right now. And I need that in my life. I need like that push to just be like pop, 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 pop. So we're shooting like multiple videos per day. Like, I'm doing like a vlog, and then I'm just like, oh, we did a whole Thomas video, and I don't want a 15-minute Thomas video in the middle of what is probably already a 15-minute vlog. So we'll chop that into its own video for the Thomas enthusiasts. We did the same thing with the monster truck. So the vlogs have essentially become like the behind the scenes of my life, or like the things that we're doing. And then there's videos being recorded within the vlog, like Vlogception. And then there's Lego videos being made within those vlogs too. It just like, it's like a giant snowball. So the only thing like holding me back now is just the editing process of getting all those videos out, but I think I can do it. We're getting pretty good at such things. So I'm just excited to be able to put content out for everyone. I said on my Lego channel, there should not be a reason that I don't have a video out every single day. Like, what I need to do is get a little bit ahead, start batching stuff, and always have like things scheduled. It can't be a thing where it's like, oh crap, today's Friday and it's 10:24. I want to have a video out at 11 a.m. I got to go edit a video. It needs to be, now I'm working on next week's stuff, or maybe even the next week's stuff, especially with vacation season coming up, because there's going to be days where we're going to be gone for like an entire week. And I'll never do this again, before I used to take my computer with me on vacation. I would edit on vacation and have videos like uploading using like the crappy internet and stuff from whatever hotel. I'm not doing that anymore. Last year I kind of resonated. Is that resonated? I resigned myself to just being like, all right, I know I'm sharing my Lego collecting journey every day, but I don't have to do this every day. I always did it because I felt like I I kind of owed it to people. I felt like I was doing them a service. Like I know there's some people out there that have like really crappy days sometimes. And occasionally like watching one of our videos can be just an escape from that for a few minutes even. And I think about that person. I'm like, I got to have a video out for this guy. I got to have a video out. But sometimes it's just like, dude, like you shouldn't be working on vacation, especially if your boss, like sometimes you're your own worst, like hardest working boss or hardest worker forcing you to work. I'm trying out this English language thing. It's not working out well for me. But you know, it's one thing if you have somebody calling you and they're like, "Hey, Johnson, I need the reports done. I need the TPS reports done by today at noon." It's like, "Okay, boss, I'm right on that." I'm making freaking Lego videos. The world will continue on, and that's the thing that I've realized as I've gotten out of this like constant hamster wheel. It's like if I don't have a video out today, the world will continue on. That guy that was going to watch that video of ours, there's 5,000 other videos that he could watch. Very easy. I do like to be that person though, because it's nice. Like I know there's a lot of crap out there, a lot of crap on YouTube and pretty much everywhere. I like to put something positive out to the world each day. Something like, you know, doesn't buy into all that stuff. So I'm walking the line. I'm trying to balance it. If I can batch out some videos and get a whole bunch of editing done ahead of time, I will, and I'll have those things out. Even if it's every other day, we'll try to make it seem like there's a flawless, no interruption in your service as we continue on. But I don't do it out of obligation. I do it because I love to. There's so many things that I like want to share, and I have here that I have collected, and that really deserves some proper attention. And I want to do it all. The only thing I'm lacking is more time. I wish I could do this. Like, I just need to stop sleeping. I do enjoy sleep though. So we'll probably keep doing that. But, yeah, it's crazy. Like I shouldn't even be complaining about time because I think about these guys and girls that have full-time jobs and they somehow are able to do that and also put out Lego content and videos and stuff like that all the time. And I'm just like, what excuses do I have? You know, I have like between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to get pretty much anything done that I need to get done, including like other obligations like household stuff. I try to do that, whether it be getting groceries, making sure like all the floors are you know, vacuumed and mopped, and laundry occasionally, stuff like that. But that doesn't take an incredible amount of time. There's no reason. I guess I get, you know, I don't sometimes factor in how long the editing process takes, because editing for me is one of those things like Lego was when I was a kid, where I could sit down with a pile of footage in this case, and I could just sit there for hours playing around with that and making exactly what I want to make. And like the clock hands are spinning and you don't realize it. That feeling, and I know we've all had that in our lives, that feeling is called your zone of excellence. It's where time just doesn't even exist anymore, and you're just like so engrossed in what you're doing. And I've learned that that is a place that you should try to find yourself professionally. And that's where I found myself. Like, if your job doesn't have you in your zone of excellence or your zone of genius or anywhere near that area, you need to find a way to get yourself into that. Whatever that thing is in your life that you just find yourself doing, like with such love and passion, it's an amazing thing. I was not, spoiler alert, I was not in that place when I was doing personal loans for people or putting people in debt, something that I don't necessarily subscribe to or agree with. But I did do the best that I could. I served people well. They thought I was providing them a good service, but that wasn't what I was called to do here on this planet, I don't think. Where I am now, I really do think that this is it. If this is going to be my legacy, these videos that I'm putting out, even if it is just me sharing my day with my son, oh, dang it. I got to put my phone on silent mode. This is what it is. This is it. And if I die someday and I have all these thousands of videos out that somebody in the future can watch and get some type of enjoyment out of, or some type of information out of, or entertainment or education, whatever it is, I'm completely happy with that, especially if that person is my son and he can look back on these. So needless to say, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. I guess that's kind of, I guess that's the long way of saying like things are going really well. In fact, on my outline here, I just have, I'm on a roll. These are literally the notes that I have for what I plan to discuss. I'm on a roll. Okay. Speaking of being on a roll, what could we put from the garden onto a roll? I guess you could put tomatoes on a roll. You know, you make like a nice little BLT with some tomatoes. Got the garden planted. I was trying to segue into that. That just did not go very well. But we got the garden planted the other night. Cody and I went out and did it. Clarkman was taking just the longest nap of his life. I wanted him to kind of be there for that. He did come out for just a moment and kind of look around, and he went back in. But we got the garden planted, ready for that whole thing to go down. Hoping to grow a lot of stuff. It's going to be pretty darn cool. I think like watching it grow is awesome, but like that moment when you go out and there's just like a cucumber just sitting there waiting for you to pick that, or a tomato or peppers or whatever, it's just such an awesome feeling. Even though like Mother Nature essentially did all the work, you know, you might have watered it, you planted it, but it's like, this is mine. I grew this. I'm going to consume this. It's a way different feeling than like making something that you don't consume. You know, like you go out there and like say we get a good cantaloupe this year, which is unlikely, but you know, we'll hope for the best. It's Clark's little life goal that he wanted to grow corn and cantaloupe. But we pull a cantaloupe out of that garden, and it's like the nicest, sweetest, most delicious cantaloupe you've ever had. That's going to be like a moment that I cherish and remember. So I'm really looking forward to whatever comes of the garden, assuming that rabbits don't get there and eat it. I need to get like a little, maybe like a 2 or 3 foot fence to put around it, because I feel like there's going to be hungry little animals that are like, garden. In fact, funny story. This isn't on my outline, but I thought I'd share it with you. I should probably make a video out of this because I think someone will enjoy it. My eggs have been getting like cracked into and opened inside the nesting box several nights in a row. I'm like, why are the chickens aren't doing this? So I set up one of our Blink security cameras out there, and I waited. And that very night, I took all the eggs out, of course. That very night, wouldn't you know it, an opossum comes. He's looking right at the camera. He goes in there, gets in the box. You hear him digging around in there for what seems to be a few minutes, and then he pops back out. And I'm pretty sure this little rat, because I shouldn't say little because he's a pretty big rat, he's also eating Mellowcat's food, because every morning I'll come out, Mellowcat's food is like gone, not even a crumb in there. Like, not like, you know, cats, they don't really, Mellow doesn't eat that much. And you know, she kind of picks at it, and her food could be out there for weeks. This opossum is coming, and he's eating Mellowcat's food, and then he's like going over to the chicken yard. He's like, ooh, eggs, delicious. So he's cracking them all open and like licking the egg juice out of there, the yolk and stuff. So I got to, I've been taking the eggs out every night, and he's been coming back every night. I now have 2 nights of video footage of this possum coming in and scoping out the situation. And I've got to figure out what to do with him. I thought about maybe trapping it and then driving it somewhere. I thought about poisoning it, but I don't want to do that because I'm like worried that the chickens might get poisoned in some way, or the cat will eat it, or Roxy Bear, and I don't want to get into that. I got to find a way to not have this possum doing this anymore, because when we go on vacation, there's going to be like a week where those eggs are going to be in there. So every night it's going to be getting in there and cracking those. The chicken coop door I need to put on before we go, that's automatic. I need to make a whole video on it because the company sent this to me. So I don't have to worry about the possum getting in the chicken coop, but I got to worry about the egg situation. And if it eats all of Mellowcat's food, she's out of food. We're going to have the in-laws come over and kind of check on things, water the garden and such while we're gone. But I need to make sure like the supplies that I'm leaving for my animals reach the intended audience, which is the animals. So if you have any possum tips other than like sitting out there with a rifle all night and shooting it, because I really don't want to do that. Like I really don't want to kill him or her, because I imagine he or she has a family. But like the poison thing kind of was alluring to me, because it's like, you know, he's just going to come eat some poison, he'll disappear, and I'll never see him again. And I'll just pretend he lived a good life forever. Sort of like when I took my rooster to the woods and set him free years ago. We had this rooster that got incredibly mean. Never owned a rooster again in my life. And I couldn't kill him. I couldn't do anything to him. So I drove him down the road a couple miles, set him free into the woods. My vision is that this is probably like 2014, something like that. We lived in our log home then. My vision is that he became like an apex predator out there, and he like was killing all these other animals and became like this giant, just like war beast of a chicken. And then I pictured him coming back to our house someday and then like killing me for what I did to him. It'd be such a great revenge story, and it's I think a really good movie. So if anybody wants to write the screenplay for that, I think it could really turn into something. But yeah, that's the story of my rooster. Too much of a chicken to do anything. Just like with Pork Chop, our pig, I couldn't I couldn't massacre a pork chop and turn her into bacon and ham and whatever else. I sold her, and I dreamed that she lived a good life too. I can't kill animals. Can't kill this possum. What am I gonna do? I don't even know. But yeah, that's what's going on outside. In other news, some good news on the weight loss front. I'm down another 2 pounds this week, which is good. May has been really great. I feel like now that I've like been getting outside and like doing more stuff, that's really helped. I'm also kind of like just doing mostly like one meal a day, or like maybe like a little snack, like I'll have a pickled egg and then like we eat dinner, and I don't eat any other snacks, and I don't take any calories in through drinks. And that has really helped. So down 2 pounds. I'm about, on my journey, I'm about 2 pounds off of where I want to be right now. So I need to try to make that up. But yeah, things are going really well with that. So like I said, on a roll, where things are happening pretty well. This weekend, as I mentioned earlier, today I'm excited because we're going to go watch Top Gun Maverick, which apparently has some pretty good reviews. I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but I remember liking the original Top Gun. In fact, I rewatched it last night on Paramount Plus of all places. I told you guys last week that I canceled my cable, which I have no regrets doing. Saved $80 a month, signed up for Paramount Plus, which was, I think, $10 a month or something like that. And we've been getting a ton of value out of it. Like Clarkman has watched the Paw Patrol movie, who are also on a roll. I think we've got the title for this episode. Paw Patrol is on a roll. You parents out there, you know what I'm talking about. The kids, they're not even here anymore. They left 30 seconds into this. As soon as they saw what this was, they were like, I'm out. But I'm glad that you're still here. And I watched Top Gun, which is on that. And Clark has now watched Sonic 2 more times. It's like his jam. It's become his Luca movie. Last year it was Luca. He would watch Luca. He watched Luca 13 times, I think. He loved that movie. It was on Disney Plus. And now he's all about Sonic 2. So we're getting our money's worth. I also watched, what else did I watch? I'm trying to think. I didn't make a note of all the things that I've watched. I've been going through it and been like, ooh, that's good. Oh, I know what I watched. Star Trek people are going to be disappointed with me, but I watched the first episode of Strange New Worlds, I think is what it's called. And I really wasn't feeling it. I don't know if I need to give it more of a chance, but I remember liking Star Trek The Next Generation when I was a kid. That was the only Star Trek that I've watched. And this one, I just was like, I don't know. I wasn't loving it. I'm more of a Star Wars guy, even though those things aren't exclusive. I know there's like different factions. And tonight, I think we're going to watch the new Kenobi show, which is on Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. Disney Plus, like, I know I hype up Paramount Plus the last couple weeks, but if you don't have any streaming service and you're thinking about just maybe like pulling the trigger on one, Disney Plus is the best value for your money in entertainment anywhere for the cost of it. In fact, I just did the thing where I prepaid for a year because you get a discount for doing that. I think it was only $70 for an entire year. The Disney Vault is wide open. They have all of the Marvel stuff on there. They've got all of the Star Wars stuff on there. They've got all the Disney shows, movies. They got National Geographic, some Fox stuff. It's wild, the amount of content that they have on Disney Plus, and it's almost too good to be true. Like, it should not be as cheap as it is, and I'm sure it won't be. I know that they're still in their customer acquisition phase right now, and eventually they'll go into the Netflix phase where it's like, okay, we've got all these people. Now let's start turning the dial up a little bit. Okay, we're going to raise it by $1. We're going to lose a couple million subscribers or whatever, but with all the extra dollars we get, we're going to make more money, and then the stock price goes up, and people are like, yay, this is great. But eventually, and what's happening in Netflix right now from what I've read, is that people are like, wait a minute. I'm paying $15 a month now for this, and like, what are you giving me for this? And they're like, you streaming stuff, I find that Netflix is really quantity over quality, with the exclusion of just a few shows here and there. Like, we just finished the show Ozark, the series, which was pretty good. Oh man, talk about digging yourself in deeper and deeper and deeper. I've got a whole thing on that show where I would like change so much about it. Like, it could have ended in season 1 if they had followed my idea, but I won't spoil it here in case you want to watch that show. It's very violent, very vulgar language, if that's not your thing. It's called Ozark. It's on Netflix, but Netflix is like, I feel like it's very expensive for what you're getting. I think Paramount Plus is a better bargain. I think Disney Plus obviously is a better bargain. In fact, you could probably get Paramount and Disney for very close to the price of the Netflix. HBO I have as well, and for me that's worth it because they put pretty decent movies on there, and they have the Warner Brothers license as well. So I watched Dune this month, and for me like that like pretty much paid for the subscription cost. You know, if you just watch a few movies on there, it's like easy to justify HBO. But Netflix is kind of a wild card. They just have a lot of crap on there that I'm just not interested in. I know some people like the original content, like the murder mysteries and all the shows they put out, but I'm more of a movie guy than a show guy personally. Like I want my contained story to happen within 2 hours or whatever. Speaking of shows though, there's one show that we watch, and that is Survivor on CBS, which is also on Paramount Plus. All the CBS shows are on there, and that was the main like pull for us getting away from cable. The season finale of that happened Wednesday night. We watched it last night. Really good season. I enjoy Survivor quite a bit. If you haven't given it a shot, it's really fun. If you like seeing the dynamics of how people engage in like a situation where you have to vote people off and you have to make friendships, but then you have to like, turn on those people, but then you have to get them to vote for you later on to become a winner. It's all very fascinating. It's like a study in sociology, and you'll end up like rooting for people, and there's like villains, and it's really fun. It's a good watch, and there's like 40 some seasons. So we've watched like every one of them. If you got into that show, you could literally just watch nothing but Survivor for like the next like 6 months straight, if that's all you did with your life. So, Paramount Plus, it's out there. I feel like I've hyped them up a little too much though. I feel like we need to like get some type of sponsorship going, because I've had several people, even in our video, they're like, "Ooh, I didn't realize Sonic was on Paramount." I'm like, Paramount, call me. Let's work out a deal. I love to promote things that I actually like and use. Like I think that's the only reason you should do anything promotional wise. If you can give like a testimonial, and I think that's like the strongest things. Even though I listen to podcasts and stuff where it's very clear that the hosts don't use or care about the products that they're talking about, that bothers me. But I guess people gotta make a living. That being said, the Greg's World podcast is brought to you ad free. Thanks to me. I don't have any sponsors. This episode is sponsored by myself. I don't want to put ads in the middle of this because it'd be very distracting if you're listening and all of a sudden like an ad for some crap pops up. And YouTube, I feel like, is probably the worst when it comes to targeting ads. Like I don't really know anymore because I've used YouTube Premium for the longest time, and for me that was one of the greatest investments I've ever made. I love the fact that I can listen to YouTube videos with my phone like turned off, essentially, like the screen turned off. That's another benefit of if you don't have YouTube Premium, which I don't think, like probably 99% of you don't. If you listen to this as a podcast, you can turn your screen off, put this in your pocket or whatever and listen to it, save some battery life. But if you have YouTube Premium, you can like essentially like turn your screen off, which should just be a feature anyway. And you can still listen to whatever content you are. Plus, there's no ads anywhere. So I don't even know what ads are like anymore. But I remember when I watched YouTube ads, it was just for random stuff that I would never buy. I'm like, you know me. You know what stuff I watch. I watch Lego videos. I watch like art videos. I watch people fixing things. I watch yard sailing videos. Oh my God. I got to talk to you guys about that. That's my new obsession. The YouTube algorithm found me. They know what I'm into, and what I'm into in real life oftentimes relates to what I'm into on YouTube. And that thing is watching people go to yard sales and buy stuff. Like it's mostly these guys that do flipping and stuff. A guy I like is called Harry Tornado, big time guy that does that. And then there's another guy that I found called Froggy Flips. And they just go to all these different yard sales and they find all these freaking epic scores. It makes me wish I lived in an area that had like people with money, because they find like they take my yard sales and make them look like absolute dookie fruit, because they're just finding like cool stuff. Like the one that I watched from the Froggy guy, he ended up finding this Disney castle thing that had like all of the villains on it, and he got it for like, I think it was like $10, $15 or something like that, and it's worth like, I think it was like over $1,000. I can't remember because I've watched so many of these darn videos, but I was like, oh my God, I'm like excited about a Lego, Lego set that's sealed that I got for $25. This guy's getting just like epic stuff. And it's so fun just to watch people go shopping and like negotiating prices and hearing like the seller stories. I think it's like my new passion. It's like my new thing. And I'm like, I can't stop watching it. It's sort of like when YouTube found out that I liked watching beehive videos and bees, which I found on TikTok as well. Bee Talk found me. And I watched this guy that comes in and like he has like this meter and then he can see where like there's a heat signature like under a floor, for example. He cuts the floor away and there's like a 60-pound beehive full of honey under there, and he finds the queen, puts it in a box, all the other bees go in there, he clears all the honey, and I'm just like, oh my God, I love this. It's so satisfying. Mainly because I'm like deathly afraid of bees. In fact, yesterday there was a wasp in our bedroom on the window, and I took this thing and I smacked it and killed it. And then I took a tissue and went to pick it up, and I stung myself in the thumb. It was like the instant karma went for me. It was almost like when a quarterback is ready to throw a ball and he gets sacked, but the ball goes up in the air, and then the guy eventually like ends up catching it, and it's a touchdown. That's sort of what happened with the bee. Like post-mortem, he ended up stinging me anyway, which luckily it didn't really do anything. I'm kind of allergic-ish to bees, but I didn't really have any problems with my thumb. Usually I get swollen up and stuff, and it's no bueno. Oh, the other YouTube obsession that I thought I'd share with you, if you haven't seen it yet, watch a video on seal coating driveways. You'll never find your way back out. It's so darn cool to watch. I also like pressure washing videos. I don't know what it is. I also like I like truck driving videos and things like that. Like I'm just a weirdo. I guess maybe it's like all these things that I would love to do with my life. I'd love to become like a pressure washer guy or like an over-the-road truck driver. Those are like life goals of mine. I'm stuck here being a YouTuber. Darn it. But yeah, that's like all that's going on in my life. We're doing the yard sale thing tomorrow, so I'll report back to you next week on how that went. I don't have much to sell. Like most of the stuff that I want to get rid of is actually worth something. And I don't want to sell it for like $1 at a yard sale. I'd like to put it on eBay, so I'm going to like kind of get my eBay store going. I'm also thinking about doing like a Bricklink store because I have so much Lego stuff. And instead of putting on eBay where they charge like 14% fees, I thought, hey, why don't I do like a Brickatech store and put my stuff there and just be like, hey, here's my stuff, guys. Here's the link. If you want to go buy it, you can support the channel. It's be a great way to do like a support your creator type thing and also get something in return without paying like eBay's fees, because I don't really need them to acquire customers for me. I have like an active group of people that watch us. So it'd be kind of cool to do a store. And I even thought like we could go crazy with it. Like I could figure out like the ultimate sig fig for each of us in the family and then order like 50 of them. And then do like a little pack of like the Brickatech family as sig figs. I think people would probably buy those. That'd be kind of cool. Brickatech logos could be on there. All kinds of stuff. I think like I don't need to do it for the money. Like I don't need to be like, guys, you need to buy my stuff for me to survive. But it'd be a cool little thing to do just for fun, and it makes some extra income that I could use for buying Lego sets. Why the heck not, right? Like why not? So that's kind of like something I've been contemplating this week along with the cleaning up of stuff. But yeah, the yard sale, I'm just going to put stuff that I don't think I'm just essentially donating. It's like a donation really, but other stuff I'm going to load up on eBay. eBay makes it so easy to kind of just, take a picture. What I found on eBay is the easiest thing is I'll find an item that's exactly like what I want to sell. And then they have a thing that says sell one like this. So I click that, take a couple photos, upload it, put a little description in, set my price, and there it is. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on my eBay thing. I'm debating whether to share my eBay store or not. What my worry is, and this is probably unfounded, but I worry that somebody would go on there and buy something and then give me negative feedback just like out of spite to kind of like tank my eBay rating. I don't know if any like hater or somebody would go to that length to do that. But I could see that possibly happening, or like not paying for something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it'd be quite the stretch to spend money to like kind of destroy somebody, but you never know. People are crazy sometimes. But I already had people being like, hey, Greg, if you sell those, sell that, let me know. Or where can I find your store? I want to buy that. I don't know. I could probably just do a Greg's World store too. I should just do one for each of them. Here's all my crap if you guys want to buy anything from me. Then we can cut eBay out of the loop, save you guys some money. Don't have to worry about feedback. Maybe I should just do that. I have enough people watching here. This is like live brainstorming with Greg's World. I have enough people watching this channel too. If I had some stuff to sell or get rid of, it's hard though, because like some of it's like camera equipment. I feel like the market for that is very small. I feel like that stuff kind of have to go on eBay. Lego is different because it's like a very focused one thing. Greg's World store would just be like all this various things that I've acquired over time that I'm trying to get rid of. I don't know if it would work. Maybe eBay's the way to go for that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But that's pretty much it for my week and my life. We're now going to jump into the next segment of the episode, which is listener feedback from last week's episode. And I'll have you know that last week's episode really went into the Lego territory quite a bit, which got all these Lego people that watch very excited. So that the first couple comments or feedback that we got is going to be Lego related. Starting with Journal of the Scots. It says, one thing, Greg, is the set versus mock commentary. I like building sets to learn the techniques. For example, I've been building that cantina, and there are some real cool techniques that I'm planning on leveraging in the future. There's a good balance between build sets, display, or play, and mock building. Yeah, I mentioned last week that I'm kind of leaning more into the world of making our own stuff than having Lego provide us with sets to build. You know, you build it, and then it's like, okay, I built it. It didn't really come from you. It wasn't being creative. You were just following directions. I want to get more into the, hey, let's make something cool. We have an idea for something. Let's make that. But I do agree with you that you can find techniques on how to build things through sets, and also unique parts too that you may not have in your collection. So there is some reason to buy sets. I'm just saying with where I'm at right now, with the storage room of doom the way it is, with like having so much, I just want to like enjoy and appreciate what we already have. And Clark leads down that path anyway. Like, he loves making his own stuff out of Lego. So I think it's a win-win, but I agree with what you're saying. Next one comes from Tracy. Says, I had a friend tell me that he read about the anxiety relief of Lego, and I wholeheartedly agree. It was that sort of therapy for me when I started building just for myself again, and just with my kids, and not just with my kids. However, some parts of Lego cause more anxiety if we aren't careful. We're talking about storage here. You talking about the boxes and space illustrates that very vividly. The pluses outweigh the minuses, but you have to be mindful of managing the downsides. Yes, I love buying Lego, especially on deal. I love building Lego, playing with Lego. I don't love storing Lego. That's the only part of it. Storing and displaying it is very like challenging for me, because I don't have like a lot of display pieces, because I've sacrificed display for a movie screen, and I have build tables here instead of shelves on the wall. So it's definitely like that part of it I don't love as much, but I love like all the other parts of it. I love making videos of it. I love sharing that. So like storage is the only thing. And if I start the Brickatech store or whatever, maybe what I do is I buy a set, get a deal on it, hopefully build it up, enjoy it for what it is. Then we take a picture of it and I sell it used on there at a discount. And maybe somebody's like, hey, I don't mind buying it used. Hey, you got your greasy fingers all over those pieces. Oh, I'm just kidding, of course, but that could be a way to kind of mitigate that issue, and then also use that money, just kind of keep recycling the money over and over again to keep getting new sets and building them and enjoying them. It would be, I think, a win-win. And then you get rid of that downside. Other than future Greg is like, crap, why don't you hold on to that set? It's now worth 6 times what you bought it for. And I'm like, I'm so stupid. Sorry. Next one comes from Jeff. Thank you, Tracy, for that comment. Jeff says, the box thing. I'm a former body shop employee, and collecting cardboard boxes for shipping certain items to sell became hoarding for me. Me, you, same. I have an entire pile of boxes that have been sitting here all week that I just took care of yesterday that were just like from Amazon or wherever, mail time. I'm like, oh, I sell something on eBay. I might be able to put that, ship that in that box or whatever. So I end up with like this whole wall of boxes. Sounds like we're kind of in the same boat here. I haven't put anything on eBay for a long time, and those boxes were sitting there. So I flattened them all. And I was like, okay, at least they're flattened. If I need one, I'll get one. It says compound that with the original box packaging for future, and you start taking up a lot of precious floor space. I feel your pain. I really enjoy your relationship with Clarkman. Well, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, the box thing. Boxes are so painful. I save like boxes for items that I bought, like this camera right here. I have a box for that because it's like, if I ever go to sell that someday, it'd be nice to have the box to go with it. I feel like it would demand more money with the box. Well, let's listen to this comment from Builder Buds. Box opinion. Keep your favorite 5 to 10 set boxes and get rid of the rest. If you do resell someday, you're going to have to ship the parts and the box in another box, and that means a much higher cost in shipping. Most folks would prefer to get the best price versus getting the box I've found. Great podcast as always, friend. This comment kind of changed my life this week. Collectors, I think there is, like, if I was selling locally, I think having the boxes would be great. Roxy's barking. You can probably I hear somebody backing up. I apologize for the background noise. It's the Greg's World podcast. I think if I was selling locally, having all the boxes would be great, but I agree with what you're saying. Most likely when I do sell these things, if I do, which is even unlikely within itself, like I'm a collector, these I'd like to give to Clark someday. He's into it too. It's one thing if you have a dad that collects something, he's like, son, here's all the things that I've collected. And you're like, Dad, I don't do that. That being said, Clark is 7 years old. So therefore, maybe he wouldn't necessarily be into Lego when he's 37 years old. So it's hard to say, but if I ever do sell these, maybe the boxes wouldn't really be as important. I have the pieces in great condition. I have the manuals perfectly preserved. And as for shipping, it would be a lot cheaper to ship than if I were to put those pieces into that giant box or ship the box flat or whatever I were to do. Maybe it does make more sense to just get rid of the boxes. So what I've decided that I'm going to do as like a baby step into this, I'm going to only keep the licensed set boxes. So like Star Wars, Marvel, DC, stuff like that. The Lego Ideas boxes, which I love those sets. They have some amazing stuff. And the Creator Expert boxes. Everything else, Lego City, all the small stuff, Brickheads, all of these things, I'm going to let go of. Because I have an entire moving box that's full of boxes right now. That's like exploding. And as Jeff was saying, that's precious floor space that's taking up. These boxes I don't do anything with. Literally, I flatten them down. I put them inside a bigger box. I never think about them again. Sorry, I'm just punching the microphone because I'm so angry. I never think about them again. I never do anything with them. They aren't a part of my life in any way. They're just sitting there for some unlikely event that I might sell this someday and then I might sell it with the box. But it's like, when's that going to happen? Is that going to happen? Is it worth having this stuff sit here for the next 3 decades? And how are those boxes even going to hold up over years and years and years of just sitting there? It just seems so dumb. I should just do this for what I love to do, which is building and enjoying Lego. If I want to keep the set, package it up, put it into a storage bin, keep my box or keep the manual in a 3-ring binder, which is what I've been doing with a page protector, like kind of like flipping through it, like almost like you'd go to like a library card catalog and you're like, oh, here's all the Star Wars sets. Oh, great. I'll build this one. Let me go pull it out of the drawer. You don't need all this cardboard. Someone once told me that really all the box is just a promotional tool. That's why the boxes are so big in some cases, because, you're spending $100 on a Lego set, even though it only takes up this little bit of space in the corner. They want to make you feel like you're getting something for your money. Why do I feel the need to then take that giant box that served no purpose in reality and then just flatten it and then keep it forever? It just seems so dumb. It just doesn't make any sense. That being said, maybe someday I'll be doing an episode of this and be like, you remember when I threw those Lego boxes away? That was the dumbest freaking thing that I've ever done in my life. Why did you guys let me do that? I am definitely curious to see what you guys think about this concept where it's, I just keep the most precious boxes, sort of like what Builder Bud says here. Let me know if it's the right path or not. I think it is. I think it's going to alleviate some stress in my life. It's going to feel good getting rid of those. Like if that box disappeared right now and I went in there, I don't know how I'd feel. I'd be like, oh, that kind of sucks. I've been collecting that for so long. But I need to just I think I just need to let things go. I still have all the pieces. I can still enjoy the sets, which, it's what's important, right? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Next one comes from Jareth. Thank you for the inspiration there, Builder Buds. He says, Greg, I remember the old train models from Polybags on the Bricktech channel. That scale of Lego trains would be awesome to build with a layout with. Building mock trains of that size would definitely be a good place to start since they're relatively small, and coming up with a way to build the track would be a learning experience too. Yeah, I've considered that. Like I love the little small, almost like Matchbox or Hot Wheels sized trains if you guys haven't seen them before. We've built several of them. I know I can get straight track pieces that would work for that, but I don't know how I would do curves. So if anyone has an idea on how to do curves with very small model track like that or train like that, in that scale, I would love to do that. I would love to make all of the Thomas characters that way. In fact, that's been one of my ideas for a long time, was to build all of the Thomas characters in Lego. I've already built Thomas. I did one on my Lego channel just using like alternate parts from this one set, and it turned out pretty nice. I couldn't do like the face because I didn't have like a sticker for like such a small piece, but it was neat. I had a fun time. That was a mock, and again, that's like I have such fond memories of that, and that's what I grew up doing. I loved like building my own stuff. That's where I want to go, and that's what I'm passionate about. So if you have any ideas on how to make a curve for a very small scale track, almost like a minecart type track, let me know on that too. This is becoming a Lego podcast. I move it from the Lego channel, all of a sudden it becomes a Lego podcast again. Some of you guys that are listening are like, Greg, why? I don't care. You do. You do care. You just don't know it yet. You do. Next one comes from Steelers Pens R1. I changed this one, or I kept this because I think this could be helpful for someone out there. in regards to the canceling of cable situation. It says, I try YouTube TV. I switched from my cable provider, and that saved $120-ish a month. I get way more value, unlimited DVR space, and can watch on any device. Yeah, I considered YouTube TV, but my TV portion of my bill was about $80, and YouTube is $65. I probably would do it if it also included YouTube Premium, because I think I'm paying like $18 a month for YouTube Premium, which you guys might think is crazy, like it's way too much. But for me, the amount of YouTube that I consume, to never see an ad in my life is like worth its weight in gold. It's all about priorities, I suppose. But yeah, YouTube TV could be an option for you if you're paying a lot of money for cable. I think it comes with like 85 channels or something like that. And he mentioned unlimited DVR space, watch on devices. It sounds like a pretty good bargain. So that is an option if you're trying to cut the cord, so to speak. But just not for me. I'm just happy with the streaming stuff that we have. I don't need any other TV. Next one comes from Avo. These are random questions here at the end. It says, currently building an SLR McLaren while listening to your podcast. Thoughts on model cars? Gas is more than $7 in LA. Oh, I want to say I misspoke last week. I said gas was like $6. It was actually $4.69. I don't know where I got my numbers mixed up. I think it's because I was watching a vlog of Adam the Woo, and he was filling up in California, and it was like $6 something. And in my mind, that became what I paid, and it was $4.69, which is still like enough. Model cars, though. I used to build model cars as a kid. I kind of sucked at it, though, as like a little kid. I would get glue on my fingers, and I would touch the windshield and have glue on that. And like it turned out kind of janky. I think as an adult with patience now and like maybe not using so much glue, I remember now that we're talking about, I used to have these styrofoam plates I'd put the glue on, but the glue was like so toxic or whatever that it would eat through the styrofoam. Don't recommend that. But I would use like a toothpick to put it on and stuff. I think if I had like proper instruction and tools, I think it'd be pretty neat. But I like Lego building much better than like doing the model cars where you're using like the glue and like the kits with the sprues and stuff like that. That being said, if I did do a model, I'd want to do one of those Gundam kits, like one of the mech looking things, one of those big like robots, look like Transformers sort of. That's probably what I would get into. Man, talking about that as a kid kind of gets me like a little bit bitter, if I'm being honest with you. Like it's another example of like my dad not like being a part of my life. Like I was sitting there building a model kit by myself. Like that's kind of sad to think about, isn't it? Like to have your dad like just not put any time into you, like with the Lego stuff. That's why I like go overboard with Clarkman. Like we do everything together. I never want to have him tell a story like, oh, my dad didn't do anything with me. My dad didn't care. I don't want him to be bitter that like he was doing something and his dad just like didn't even participate in it. Why didn't he help me build those kits? We could have did that together. That would have created like a lifelong memory for me of us building these kits, and maybe be something that I still do today, because I'd be like, dang, like we built that Ford F-150 truck and it looks so cool and we painted it and did all this stuff. Instead, I don't have any of that. I just had like myself entertaining myself. Luckily, Lego provided like that nourishment for me, and that's why I love it so much as an adult. But yeah, maybe we'll do a model kit. Like I said, I think it'd be like a Gundam though. If anybody's into that scene, recommend one to me that I should like start with. Probably get like a Snap one, I guess. That'd probably be like for noob myself. Last question here. This kind of leads into, I guess, the final topic. Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Left a comment. Says, Greg, unrelated question. Have you ever been to Hershey Park in Hershey, PA? Yeah, I went there with a field trip in elementary school. I'd like to go there this summer. We've literally drove past it last year. I dropped Cody off at a spa with her friend in Hershey, and we drove right past it to go to Dutch Wonderland, which is more appropriate for like younger kids, for Clarkman's age. But man, I was looking at those coasters and I was like, oh baby, look at that place. I love Knoebels, obviously like my #1 place in the world that I love going. But yeah, I'd love to hit up some Hershey Park this summer. And speaking of the summer, and this is kind of where we're gonna wrap this. I'm so looking forward to this summer, having all the time together as a family to go on trips, to go to Knoebels, to go to Hershey Park, to just enjoy like the weather and outdoor activities and all this stuff. Like I just can't wait. Clarkman now has 4 days next week. We're coming in Memorial Day on Monday, and then 2.5 days the following week, and that's it. They're done with school, and we've got all this time together. And I'm just so darn excited for it. And I can't wait to share it with you and tell you about it here on this podcast, and also with videos, of course. But that's pretty much it for this week. If you have anything that you would like to discuss next week, feel free to throw it out there, even if it's not something that I talked about. if you have any answers to any of the questions that I've posed in this. I always appreciate hearing from you guys. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this recap of my week where I'm on a roll. It's been pretty awesome, and I can just hope for more of this to come. So on that, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have the greatest week of your life, and we'll see you in the next Greg's World podcast.